This was a $250 million, $250 million fraud attempted on the taxpayers and residents of the state of California.
We're here at the Orange County Fair and Event Center where a report just landed calling on Governor Brown to investigate the California Construction Authority. In the background is the 3-year failed effort to privatize the fairgrounds. A new board majority appointed by the governor has sort of taken the fairgrounds in a very different direction. Now the question is how they deal with the past. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw in your investigation that led you to use such a strong word, the laundering of contracts?
What I call laundering, they went through a planning organization where they had existing contracts, and they added these contracts for attorney services in Sacramento through that. And that's what I call laundering. It had nothing to do with the planning operation of this organization whatsoever.
The evidence shows that the money was moved through various entities in a way to hide it.
Well, it almost like it was being ran as a private entity. We had a small group of people that seemed to have a great deal of influence, and they really didn't have the authority to do some of the things they did.
It appears that the executive staff were acting as if this was their own property, as if it's their own company. It also appears that they were complicit in the idea to sell this property.
The oversight agencies here completely fell down. The district attorney has a lot, should I say, to answer for.
Nick, in the board meeting, you seem to not have that much faith that the administration of Kamala Harris or Governor Brown would really probably look into much here.
This particular attorney general seems to have taken a position not to intervene in local issues, and so I think that's doubtful.
You know, the DA's investigation was interesting, but it surely wasn't complete. You know, did they go to CCA to Sacramento and interview those people? What board members were interviewed? You know, we don't have answers to that. Were people interviewed under oath? You know, so we know they were telling the truth. There's so many answers that we just don't have.
The public, when they smell something that's fishy, you know, they're not often wrong.
Had the public not really jumped on this and started digging independently, this fairgrounds could have been gone.
You, as a fair board member, spent practically a year asking for certain critical public documents, which you were denied.
As Teresa Sears and her group have pointed out, I was very troubled about not getting these records. As a board member, first off, I was troubled. Also, when I found out that we weren't honoring the proper public records request, that was even more troubling.
How hard was it to follow up with this fair board on public records requests?
Well, it was very difficult. As you know, it took 820 days to get some of the key information. But you have to be tenacious, and you have to be committed to what you're doing. This is the poster child for how not to do something, and there's so much involved in this. There needs to be a reordering of these agencies that have oversight.
Where we had someone in the Schwarzenegger administration advising the folks down here to basically fabricate the history of what had happened with public notice for a meeting in order to circumvent rules for public noticing. Oh yeah, say it was up there, say it was a clerical error. And that was coming from the top levels of the Schwarzenegger administration, which to me was shocking.
Do you think that should be investigated?
Well, I do. I don't know if it will be, but I think it should be.
Why?
Because it's a violation of the public trust. It really is a demonstration of why anybody on any kind of public board or even a nonprofit board really has to be willing to dig in and ask questions. And even if maybe you kind of disrupt the process and make a few waves occasionally, in the long run, it's going to be better for your organization, because otherwise you'll have a few people who can essentially run amok. This fairgrounds could have been gone.
The problem is it happens all the time, and it's gotta stop. You can't just say that's life, that's the way it happens.
We can't just accept the bottom. We have to strive for the top.
What's the message to the public about what activism can actually achieve?
It was tough, but in the long run, there was a reward. The fairgrounds was almost lost, and we saved it. And so anybody who's really just getting so tired and ready to give up, hang in there, because you can do it. It might take years, it might take months, but you can do it.
It's amazing to see what the people can really do, and they're the ones that actually bring about the true change, especially in government. I hope that we can send a recommendation up to the board and to the Brown administration to move this forward and for them to look into it. I think it would be helpful going forward and to set new policies.
So this committee felt very strong about that the governor should take a look at their policies and their role in what went on here in Orange County at this fair facility.